It is Tuesday, June 16th, 2026, 7 p.m. I will call the city council meeting to order. Clerk Hubbard, please call roll.
Councilmember Huckabee.
Here.
Councilmember Johnson.
Here.
Councilmember Lesko Hair.
Here.
Councilmember Price. Here. President Jacob.
Here. Thank you. Item 3, Pledge of Allegiance. I invite everybody to stand. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Item 4, the consent agenda. The consent agenda outlined below here is hereby presented by, let me start that over. The consent agenda outlined below is hereby presented for action by the city council. Items may be removed from the consent agenda on the request of any one council member. Items not removed may be adopted by one action without debate. Removed items may be taken up either immediately after the consent agenda or placed later on the agenda at the discretion of council president.
I move to approve the consent agenda as listed, items 4A through 4K.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Just that it's great to see so many events coming up.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 5, public hearings. Tonight we have none. Item 6, public comment for matters on the agenda. The city council will receive comments from city residents. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per individual. Anyone wishing to speak is required to sign up in advance or state the following items for the record when called upon: name, address, and contact information. Note for those of you following on Zoom, if you wish to speak, please raise your virtual hand as the chat box is not monitored, and those on the call must remain muted unless recognized to speak. We don't have anybody signed up for the first portion in person, so this will be a first call for anyone on Zoom. Second call for anyone on Zoom wishing to provide public comment. Seeing none, I will close out public comment and move on to item 7, petitions, requests, and communications. 7A is a recognition of Julia Belke and Prana Health and Wellness as winners of the Historic Preservation Commission's 2026 Historic Preservation Award. We have Museum Director Lee.
Good evening, everybody. I'm here on behalf of the Historic Preservation Commission of the City of Fort Atkinson. I'm the liaison to that. And for the Historic Preservation Commission, our goal is to help the community and ourselves see the beauty and importance of our downtown buildings, as well as our historic nature buildings too, found throughout the city. This is the second year that we've presented an award to an individual or family who has done exceptional work in trying to help maintain the historic nature of a building. Last year, the award was given to Greg and Anna Albert for their work on the Marsden Horde House. And this year is our first commercial building award. It's also only our second year, so there's a good chance it was going to be. And we are honored this year to present it to Julia Belke and her husband Bill for their work at Prana Health and Wellness at 14 South 3rd Street. So thank you so very much. They've done an excellent job of remodeling the interior and exterior, bringing an older building back to life for a new purpose, and that fit the awards criteria perfectly. So thank you very much for both of them.
Thank you.
Stand up here, sorry. So we'll stand over here. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome.
All right, 7B, we have a presentation and report relating to a solar study completed at the City of Fort Atkinson wastewater treatment plant. And we have some folks from Donahue and Associates to present.
Yep, good evening. I'm Nathan Cassidy from Donahue. So I'm a wastewater engineer, but I'm gonna just intro the first presentation, and then I have Karami Biederman on the Zoom, who's one of our electrical engineers at Donahue. So first presentation is on a solar review. The facility, the wastewater treatment facility, had some interest in looking at a solar project a couple of years ago and did some initial just investigations with Wisconsin DNR about how those type of projects go about, and then got a little bit of kind of options and pricing. Donahue proposed to just do kind of an alternative study for the facility to look at sizing alternatives and details of it. So I'll turn it over to Karami, and she's got just a few slides to step through if you wouldn't mind pulling those up, and she can kind of walk through them.
And Nathan, she can share her screen if she would like.
Oh, okay. So Karami, if it would work better, you're welcome to share your screen.
Okay, hi everybody, I'm Kirmy. I just sent a request to share my screen, I think. Okay, now I got it.
Yep, okay.
Okay. All right. All right, can everybody see my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
Move that out of the way. Okay. 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 Okay, so as part of the solar study, we looked at the existing system. So the wastewater treatment plant is currently fed from two electrical services. And this just kind of details the amount of power and energy that the facility uses. And this was used to size, the appropriate solar system size so that the majority of the solar generated is not exported to the utility company. So on average, the facility uses about 375 kilowatts. As part of this, we did a breakdown where the energy costs go, and of the annual energy cost, 56% of the energy costs are off-peak time, which equates to about 65% of the energy used is off-peak. The off-peak time is like from 10 p.m. to 10 a.m., which is not great solar production opportunities, right? Your biggest solar production is probably from like 8 to 4 or 5, depending on the seasons. So the on-peak energy is billed at a higher cost than your off-peak energy. So we looked at a 300 kilowatt system option. A 300 kilowatt system is what the utility company, that's the maximum size that qualifies for a net metering option, which basically takes all the energy that you produce in excess of what the facility is consumed, and it gives you a credit on your next bill to use those energy units to offset some of the energy that you do consume. So with this system, it produces about 504,000 kilowatt hours. 99% of the PV produced in this scenario goes straight to the facility, and about 1% is exported to the utility company. This offsets about 15% of the energy uses, and it uses about an acre of land. The cost for this is, about 2.9 million. And if there were potential incentives like the 30% ITC tax credit, you get some direct pay savings, and then ultimately the net PV would be about 2 million. So you would save roughly $900,000 for that. As a second option, we looked at a 900 kW system, which generates a lot more electricity, and about 70% of the production would go to the facility and about 30% would get exported to the utility. So this would offset a lot more of the energy use within the facility, Just understanding that there's a lot of on-peak and off-peak, there's off-peak energy. So if you totalize that, it would use about 30%. And this takes about 2.7 acres. The estimated cost is about 4.4 million with a direct pay potential of like 1.3 million. But as you can see, the annual estimated utility bill savings are about $109,000 annually. So this would have a greater than 20-year payback. We also looked at a 900 kW system with optional battery to try to utilize that extra 30% of power exported to the utility. But even with a pretty substantial size battery, it only increases the energy offset by another 4%. So we were at 30% without the battery and 3% with, 34% with the battery. So it, with the extra cost, it increases the payback period. This is just kind of a graph to illustrate, the energy usage. So if you look here, in blue, that's kind of your net demand. The green is your solar production. So as you can see, if your facility is operating at about 403 kilowatts and you're producing 880 kilowatts, the delta here just gets exported to the utility company. And then that's cost that's not saved. The battery system, just to show you graphically what that looks like, is that, during some of this high peak energy production, it's filling up the battery, and then the battery is being discharged during this period to offset and bring down that total net demand. But as you can see, the battery is just not, it spends a lot of time being at a higher state of charge. So it's not, this is the state of charge. So it's not cycling how you would want it to. This is just the system cost option summary, looking at the project cost, your incentive values, the net project costs, the annual savings from your utility bill, 20-year savings, and then the optional O&M costs, which basically just take away from the, your savings, and then it shows that there's a greater than 20-year payback with all three options. But it does, not only does it save energy, but it also offsets your CO2 emissions, which equates to about 8,000 tons of CO2 offset, 17 million car miles driven, and 118,000 trees planted with the 300 kilowatts solar system. So our recommendations, if we were to do, any of the options, would be the 300 kW system. It's got the quickest payback and the lowest financial impact. But the payback period does exceed the life of the assets. A lot of our municipalities, they'll look at, consider this type of project more for the carbon footprint reduction, than for, economical values. So, and the reason why the cost is so high is because of the cost of construction today, the cost of the feeder, to get all the way across the plant for the interconnection, and then just all the equipment that's required to make that interconnection. That's my last slide.
Jeremy, this is Zach, Director of Public Works. So based on your recommendations, what you're stating is that any of the options that have been proposed do have a longer payback period than the equipment that is needed for this to work. So from a financial standpoint, this would not be a feasible project.
That is correct. Yeah. The solar modules have a 20 to 30 year lifespan. The inverters are about 15 to 20 years. So, a greater than 20-year payback, yeah, you don't make the money back in time to pay for that, that doesn't pay for the assets. Correct.
In your experience, what would a payback period, could that make sense? Like 10 years, 12 years, somewhere around there, or what
Yeah,
would it take?
yeah, I think, every customer has their own um, limits to what they think would be successful. I mean, I've seen paybacks as high as like 10 years, 15 years, because then after you get those savings, and that's just, after, then that's more money in your pocket. Um, but I had some customers in the past that if it was greater than a 3-year return on investment, it was not a viable project.
And then does the recommendation that it's probably not a viable option here, does it change based on like how, well, if there was a greater demand for kilowatts out of there, of course the cost is going to go up, but is there sort of like a benchmark of the minimum amount of kilowatts needed to make a project like this viable?
Well, I I would say the reason why this project is not quite as viable is because of how the interconnection piece is set up. A duct bank running across the facility gets pretty expensive. There are ways to do it more economically. This was just kind of a preliminary study, I guess, if you will. I don't think that there's, it all depends on, I don't know if I can get back up to here, but it all kind of depends on your load profile. I don't know if I can change this. Oops.
To clarify what Jeremy's saying regarding the duct bank, as all the images showed, the solar array would be in the forested property to the south of the wastewater plant. That is the only viable property around the wastewater plant to make this go.
Does that being the only viable property if, because I know it's limited as to what we have out there. If we needed to expand our system out there, would that be defeated by the fact that we'd already parked solar stuff on it?
Uh, yes and no. That's not where we would expand most likely, just based on because all the rest of the operations are on the north side of that property. So we do have green space there identified for expansion, but nonetheless, that is the only viable space to expand anywhere outside of the perimeter that's currently in
What-
place.
Utilizing it won't limit us our ability to expand if we need to.
Sure, if we installed solar one day and we needed that space for something else, that would pose challenges.
The 65% that's at off-peak, is there a way to adjust the operations at all to shift that so it's more on-peak and we would save more then? Or like it would kind of change our costs a little bit in our favor at all? Oh,
I,
so
It's in the wastewater.
yeah,
We can
I
talk
don't,
a little bit. Jeremy, I don't mind. I can field that one. One of the unique parts of your treatment facility is the fact there is some industrial activity that runs all through the night. So the electrical use at the facility, there's a lot of treatment going on in the dark. So most of the peak kind of treatment needs at the facility happen at night. So that is really unique. If you were looking at a big commercial type business or something where there's a lot of activity during the day, then solar is generating all its electricity when you're doing all your peak kind of activity. The treatment facility, the fact that there's a lot of treatment going on 24 hours a day and there's peaks at night really push all that electricity use to a time when solar isn't really benefiting you. So that's a big item just for trying to make that savings back. That's kind of fighting against the facility.
And if we are building, please help me, the Jones pre-treatment treatment area, would that help offset this as well?
I'm not exactly familiar with that,
That
but I'm
may be
assuming
getting too
that's
far.
Yeah,
lower loadings on
it'll
facilities.
lower it, but not to those extents.
Okay,
And there's more than one industry that's running 24/7.
thank you.
All right, we
And,
ready
and
to
quite
move on?
frankly, you do want to have your, the majority of your energy use off peak just due to the cost. Like it's quite a bit less expensive for off peak energy than it is for on peak energy.
Yeah, so the city's already saving quite a bit of money by just how the facility runs. Yeah.
Okay.
Correct. Yep.
All right. Any further questions for?
Just for our city manager, do you have this PD or this PowerPoint?
I can get it and provide it.
Okay,
Mhm.
I would love that.
Sure.
Can't get that far.
Sure.
Yeah, and there's a memo too that, that these summary slides came from. So any of that material, you're welcome to.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for that presentation, and we will move on to the report for relating to the biosolids study you guys conducted.
Yeah, thank you. So like I mentioned, I was kind of project manager for both of these studies, but this one's a little more in my wheelhouse, focusing on wastewater treatment studies. So just a little couple minutes of history. Donahue did a facility plan for the treatment facility back in 2018. That focused on the main forward flow treatment items at the facility, and that's what led to the fairly large upgrade that happened, finished up just 3 years ago or so now. But during that project, really the biosolid side was set aside just because the needs were really with changing regulations and treatment of the wastewater. So after that project was all done and complete, we switched gears and went to a biosolids facility plant. So that's what this project is really just an add-on piece to the report that we had done in 2018. Just right at the bottom of this slide, you can see the major steps that we go through when we do this type of a study. So we look at condition of facilities, and you'll notice that's going to be a big item in what I'm going to describe today, because a lot of this is really just kind of fix it up stuff, I'll call it. Then we look for items that need to be rehabilitated or replaced. We look at just the treatment capacity overall with what you're expected to have in the future in the next 20 years. And then we evaluate upgrade alternatives to meet any of the needs that we identify and come up with recommended upgrades and kind of an implementation plan. So that sets up really the next few slides that I'm going to step through just to give you kind of that executive summary overview. Just to show kind of, there's a lot of different unit processes at the facility. The biosolids handling and treatment processes are about a third of it, the part that's in that red box on the flow diagram there. So everything else was really addressed in the 2018 facility plan. So first step is condition assessment. And like I said, this ended up being kind of the focus of this study. I wasn't going to rattle off all of these, but basically we walk through each unit process with the facility staff, identify age, condition, performance on all the equipment and systems, and then put together a list of items that we find deficient, kind of things that need some sort of rehab or replacement. And that's what this list is right here, is looking at various pumps, thickeners, field truck, electrical equipment, items that are all associated with those biosolids handling processes that are either aged to a point where they're really not usable for the next 20 years, or there's just something that's wrong with them or causing a lot of maintenance and operational hassles that can be improved. So that list ends up becoming a lot of what it ends up in the recommendations. The next step is we look at capacity analysis. And that's kind of the good news of the facility, is that the size capacity that each one of these unit processes is meant to treat is all below the projected flows and loadings that the facility is going to see over the next 20 years. So if any of those blue bar graphs that represent the capacity of the unit processes, if they were up at the red line or above the red line, it would be showing that there's something that might need to be expanded for capacity. But you can see all the bars are below the red line, and that's saying that there's really no identified capacity items that we see at the facility. Then the other kind of major reason that we did the biosolids facility plan is just to look at end use alternatives. There's a lot of discussion on, the continuation of biosolids land application uses, which is what the majority of Wisconsin's biosolids is used for, is for a fertilizer for farm facilities. So this part of the evaluation wasn't really to identify things that need to happen right now, but it's to kind of look at what alternatives would be looked at if something changed drastically with regulations or biosolids end use for land application, what you'd have to look at doing to kind of have a facility that can still get rid of the biosolids. So there's three alternatives here. Number one was the status quo, which is just stick with what the facility does already. They're actually really efficient and economical at what they do right now. So anything that we look at for alternatives, it's going to add project cost, it's going to add operation and maintenance cost, and it's really not going to look as good as what they do right now. So status quo alternative looks great. There's no additional annual costs. The capital costs that we estimate are all just the deficiency fix-it-up items that I mentioned in the list from our evaluation of kind of the assessment of the facilities. The other two alternatives then that we put out was enhanced dewatering, which would greatly reduce the amount of truckloads of biosolids that would have to leave the facility, just to look if that was an improvement. And then the third one is thermal drying, which would then take the biosolids to a Class A product, which has less regulations and more avenues of being able to use it in other places. So, for example, a Class A dried product would be like a Milorganite out of Milwaukee MSD, where it can be bagged and used as a fertilizer or used by a landscaping company. So I put the cost right on the bottom of the sheet just because you can see that any of the alternatives we really look at for alternative uses have a fairly high capital cost, and they add to the operating cost of the facility. So there's no real reason to look at any of these right now. The only reason you kind of want to have this document put together and have the planning figured out is that if over the next 20 years, some major regulation changes or some major item changes with land application, you've already kind of initially started what other alternatives you have and how you might implement them at the facility. So with that said, the recommendation for implementation is really just the list of items to replace and rehabilitate. And we sat down and went through this list with Zach and the facility staff just to put them into kind of manageable projects over the next several years. So you notice there's three tables. The first one's for the 27-28 time frame. The second table's 2029 through 2031. And then the third table is just future upgrades to be looked at later. So they're items we identified, but there's no immediate need that you'd have to tackle those. So really that's the gist of it, is just the list of recommended replacements and rehabilitations. and kind of having that plan in place to get this equipment fixed up.
So within this list, are they prioritized?
That's how we came up with kind of the first tier, second tier, third tier, was
Okay.
looking at what were more immediate needs at the facility versus what could wait a few years, and then what could wait longer than a few years and be
Okay.
reassessed at another time.
So that first chunk is not a wish list. This is what should be.
Yeah, every one of those items, the RAS pumps, the gravity belt thickener, the centrifuge feed pump, and then the study on the blowers, those items have actually been identified for work for several years kind of already. And this report is just kind of emphasizing that those are the kind of the most important to get fixed up now.
Thank you.
And I will add that you'll find almost all these items in the 5-year CIP currently. So that this kind of helped reaffirm a lot of those items. And then a follow-up on the solar study piece. Back in 2024, the city borrowed $1.5 million for solar. After this presentation, we're pretty confident that we're not going to move forward with that. And the recommendation from our financial advisor is to utilize those funds within the wastewater operations. So this gives us an opportunity to move a couple of these items forward, and you will see city staff bringing those items forward in future meetings.
Thank you.
This implementation plan here, doesn't, it's not I don't know what the correct word is. It doesn't get us to a class A. No, none of this. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. Really right now, the Class B program you run is probably one of the most economical programs that I've worked on before. A lot of facilities use outside contractors to manage their biosolids land application program, and with that comes quite a bit of cost per year for that. With the facility really running it themselves, the costs are really low. So really, as long as it fits within the regulations and kind of the ability to utilize those biosolids, this is a good, the best alternative is to stick with what you're doing.
Is there a market for Milorganite?
Certain landscaping companies do use it quite a bit. So yes, I wouldn't go into it though expecting that you're going to make money. Usually the goal whenever you're looking at some sort of a Class A program is first and foremost just kind of future proofing what your program is, knowing that it's going to have less regulations on it. And then second of all, just trying to recoup as much of your costs as you can. So if you can get close to breaking even on what it costs you to further refine it to Class A, that to me, that's kind of a win goal for you.
Thank you.
Yep.
It's great to hear from a consultant that our wastewater staff is creating a very well efficient department, and makes everybody feel good. So
good.
Any further questions?
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you
all.
very much.
Yep.
All right, moving on to item 8, resolutions and ordinances. 8A is review and possible action relating to the wastewater utility 2025 compliance maintenance annual report to the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources. We have wastewater superintendent Sweeney.
Good evening. It's a wastewater kind of night, I guess. Yeah.
You're not up here asking for money tonight, so.
No, I'm not. Good things, good things. The Wisconsin Administrative Code NR 208 requires each wastewater treatment facility to complete and submit an annual evaluation of its treatment and collection systems, condition and performance. The evaluation is submitted through a web-based form. Each section is graded independently using an A through F scale with an overall grade point average calculated for the entire report. The facility may fail an individual section, but still receive a passing grade overall. Any section graded below C requires a response and corrective action plan to be submitted to the Wisconsin DNR. Our grades this year, influent flow and loadings were an A, effluent quality BOD, TSS, ammonia and phosphorus were also an A. Biosolids quality and management, preventive maintenance and staffing, operator certification, financial management, and collection systems were also A. So overall, the facility had a grade point average of 4.0. And that indicates that overall the plant is in good condition and is operating at a high level. There were 8 points deducted for the 2025 report year. The facility received point deductions for the influent BOD exceeding the 90 and 100% threshold of the design in February and in March of 2025. The higher than average BOD loadings was related to an industry having a higher period of loading to the facility during those months. Staff recommends that the City Council adopt the resolution authorizing the filing of the 2025 Compliance Maintenance Annual Report as required by Chapter NR 208, Wisconsin Administrative Code.
Well, I move to approve the resolution relating to the wastewater utility 2025 compliance maintenance annual report to the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Do we get some input from local industries on what their expected load would be? I mean, is that how there was a 2-month period there where one had a higher load than it was anticipated?
Their attempt is always to meet the standards and not go over it, but sometimes they just have bad days. And some industries, when they're making changes and changing chemicals or changing products, it takes them a while to get that under control. And so hiccups along the way, but we all deal with it, but you never want to see that.
And we actively monitor those things, and those industries are charged appropriately for excess load.
Yes.
Well, with this glowing report card, I just want to know what's on your to-do list for 2026.
You saw it. A lot of pumps.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Does like flooding that we've had recently this spring, does this have an effect to this report card potentially, or?
It
next
could
year?
next year, but I think we'll be okay.
Okay.
We did that flow rating re-rating last year, which brought our daily design up. So I think we will be okay.
Will any of the changes that are potentially coming that were the recommendation, would they change any like certifications that you would need? I saw that you guys had the A on the certifications. Would it still all stay in the like same realm of things to
Yes, it will all stay
biosolid waste?
in that realm.
Perfect. All right, nice job.
Thank you.
Any further discussion on this topic?
Nope.
We have the motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 8B, review and possible action relating to a resolution designating the City of Fort Atkinson Police Department as a primary wireless 911 public safety answering point. Police Captain Lindsay.
Good evening. The Fort Atkinson Police Department is currently a primary public safety answering point, or what we refer to as a PSAP for all landline 911 phone calls. And we are seeking to transition from a secondary wireless 911 primary service answering point to a primary service answering point. For those of you who don't remember, in 2025, we initiated and completed a transition to AT&T's next generation 911 wireless service, which means that we can now handle all cellular 911 calls that come into the city and meet the modern demands of the abandonment of landlines. Traditionally in the state of Wisconsin, however, cellular 911 calls all go to the county in which they originate. And with Next Gen 911 system currently being installed across the state, all local PSAPs are able to handle now their calls that are originated within their jurisdiction. And as a primary PSAP, we're no different. We can now receive those phone calls as well. However, currently all of our wireless 911 calls still are go to Jefferson County Sheriff's Department first. Once the call is identified that it's within our jurisdiction, that call is then transferred to us. That process can delay our first responders, and it can also be somewhat frustrating for the callers because it creates redundant information sharing as they have to repeat themselves to our dispatchers now to get help. The proposed change would eliminate those inefficiencies. And it's also important to know that this is being done with collaboration with the Jefferson County Sheriff's Department, and Sheriff Mays has supported this transition and believes it's only right that the 911 calls that are originated within the city of Fort Atkinson come to our dispatch center. So the transition from the secondary wireless 911 safety answering point to a primary point is absolutely essential to our continued operations for the police department, so that we can continue to provide really good service to the citizens, and that this will be the final step for the 911 next generation transition that was initiated in 2005. There is a cost with this final step. In your packet, you'll see it's $6,500, but yesterday we got really good news. AT&T said it's only going to be $4,000.
Nice.
So that was a good win for us. And funds to pay for this service were going to be coming out of our police department's telephone and radio account from the 2026 adopted budget. So won't be any increase in our budget. So staff is recommending that City Council adopt the resolution designating the City of Fort Atkinson Police Department as the primary wireless 911 public safety answering point. So I'd be happy to answer any questions about that.
I just have one clarifying question. So these are calls that your dispatch is already handling. It just eliminates that delay
Yeah.
and repeat.
The
Okay.
Sheriff's Department is essentially a middleman.
Okay. But it's not going to up the volume that your dispatchers already deal with.
No.
Okay. Perfect.
And every second, I imagine an emergency is essential. Do you have a way of just even ballparking? This could save 30 seconds to a minute or more. I mean, depending on how long the call takes for the county to handle it till it comes down.
I don't have a way to ballpark that. Sometimes it depends on the caller. Some callers are very succinct and answer questions very well and listen well to their dispatchers. Other people are, obviously it's an emergency and they have a panic and it becomes more difficult to determine location. And I know the fire Chief Peterson will attest to this too, as we talk about response time, and every second counts. So the faster that call is routed to us, the faster we can have whoever our first responders are going in that direction immediately.
Is there any expected downtime, like for the center to be upgraded to this?
That's a great question. There won't be any downtime. And the beautiful thing about Next Gen 911 is if one system is overrun, like a municipality like us, if the 911 calls are coming in fast and furious, the calls automatically transition to the secondary one, and that will be the Jefferson County for us.
Okay.
So then they will start handling those calls for us, and they have the ability to get on our frequency, whether it's police, fire, EMS, and notify us of continued information and work along with us as partners.
Fingers crossed that situation doesn't happen,
I
but
hope not.
yes.
So now with this, because I'm sure the cellular towers don't know exactly city limits. If they're picking up, say you're a quarter mile outside of town as county jurisdiction, I assume we just revert back and just transfer the call.
That
back
can
to the
happen.
county.
Yeah. If you're close, everything's based off our GIS mapping. And if you are close to a border, the call could go to the wrong jurisdiction.
Okay.
And that's not unique to us. That's everywhere.
Okay. So just do like we're currently doing it, just send the call to the sheriff's department. then
Yep. So they
instead.
would transfer it to the appropriate agency.
I move to approve the resolution designating the City of Fort Atkinson Police Department as the primary wireless 911 public safety answering point.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Being none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 8C, third and final reading and possible action relating to an ordinance amending the City of Fort Atkinson zoning map for the property located at 550 McMillan Street, parcels listed in the packet from institutional to multifamily residential 30. We have Director of Neighborhood and Building Services, Drager.
Yes, thank you. As you said, this is a proposal for a zoning map amendment. The current institutional zoning does not permit a standalone multifamily housing, which is a future proposal from the applicant. So this application would allow for that future development to happen. There was a public hearing on this matter on April 28th. There was public comments that were addressed by both staff and the applicants. Applicants also held a neighborhood meeting on May 6th that was well attended by the public as well. Plan Commission did recommend approval on May 12th, and then the first reading was on May 19th, and June 2nd was the second reading. We have not received any further comments on this zoning map amendment. Just to backtrack here, the proposal, future proposal, I should say, that correlates with this is 4 multifamily apartment buildings with 24 units apiece. I will also point out that there was a traffic study that was done per request of city staff that did show that the proposed development and the maximum allowed underneath the zoning would be capable of being handled by our existing infrastructure. The city's comprehensive plan shows the two parcels to be in the planned mixed use. So overall, city staff does find that it is in concert with the comprehensive plan and that it is aligned with the adopted city plans and ordinances. There's no direct financial impact by the city by approving the proposed zoning map, but there is a development of the site would create some additional tax base. City staff does recommend that the city council enact the ordinance to change the zoning of the property located at 550 McMillan Street from institutional to multifamily residential 30. I would welcome any questions you may have.
If this is approved, does this kick it back to the developer now for next steps, or is there something else that the other steps that the city needs to take?
This would change the zoning for the parcel itself. So this will remain with that parcel until a request were to be made to change that. Now the developer is able to bring forward other applications for the land use.
So, and just to follow up on that, there is a conditional use permit required for a group development that the Plan Commission will review, and then site plans, full site and building plans that will be reviewed.
Correct. As well as a certified survey map, because there's two parcels.
I move to enact the ordinance to change the zoning for the property located at 550 McMillan Street from institutional 1 to multifamily residential MRM 30.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? As you know, this was one of those that we received a lot of pushback from neighbors, but it seems like we've kind of smoothed everything over, and it's a great future development coming to the area. So use of vacant land in there.
Yes.
That being no other discussion. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 9, reports of officers, boards, and committees. We have the city manager's report. Manager Hausman.
Thank you. The Hoard Historical Museum hosted its 12th annual Dairy Day at the museum on Saturday, June 13th, with almost 1,100, more than 1,100 people and 13 cows in attendance. There were grilled cheeses and multiple floats for sale. I tried the orange soda and vanilla ice cream combination, which I believe they called the Guernsey. Each combination was named after one of the breeds. It was a great event. The museum staff and volunteers are also busy preparing for their 50th annual ice cream social on July 4th from 1 to 3. Everyone's welcome to attend, and there'll be plenty of ice cream. I was fortunate to attend the Habitat for Humanity of Waukesha, Jefferson, and Rock counties Dream Builders Gala on Saturday in Watertown on behalf of the city. The event raised over $250,000 to support Habitat's mission and programs. The city received special recognition due to the duplex project, which is the first new home build with Habitat in Jefferson County, as well as our new critical home repair program. And speaking of that duplex project, the Habitat team will be in Fort Atkinson tomorrow at 1 p.m. to present the keys to 2 new homeowners in the city. I would like to congratulate Water Utility Superintendent Jeff Armstrong, who recently announced his retirement in August. Jeff spent 11 years as the city electrician, almost 4 years as the Water Utility Superintendent, and 23 years with the fire department. So Jeff embodies a commitment to community and this organization. So congratulations to him on his much deserved retirement, and I want to just appreciate his service. Also, I want to congratulate Captain Ben Lindsay, who's with us tonight, who recently graduated from Wisconsin Command College on June 5th. Through this collaboration with the Wisconsin Department of Justice and the University of Wisconsin-Madison, Captain Lindsay earned his CPM, or Certified Public Manager designation. So congratulations. Also, we have now completed the hiring process for the facilities manager position. Matt Thompson will be promoted from his current role in the Parks Department to the newly created position. Matt brings knowledge of the city as well as extensive experience with his own property management business to the role, and he will begin on July 20th. So congratulations to Matt. And with all those changes, the city is hiring. So we have started the recruitment process for the water utility superintendent position, and we'll soon begin the recruitment for the aquatic specialist in the Parks and Recreation Department. Visit the city's website for more information on those things. Dwight Foster Public Library's Unearth a Story summer reading program is off to a great start and will continue through July 31st. The program includes reading challenges for all ages as well as special events. The library staff are looking forward to dinosaur workshops with local artist Sally Kaler on June 17th and 18th, a local author showcase on June 20th, a monarch butterfly presentation on the 29th, and the discussion with the children's nonfiction title Stuck, the Story of La Brea Tar Pits with the author, Joyce Uglow, on July 2nd. The library and our Parks and Recreation Department are partnering now to circulate an Explorer Pass for the Fort Atkinson Aquatic Center. So I'm really excited about this project. So individuals can check out the pass from the library to gain free admittance for up to 4 people at the Aquatic Center. And those Aquatic Center, the pass is the newest to the library's collection of Explorer Passes, which includes 14 passes to area attractions, including Little Rainbow's Play Place, the Mitchell Park Domes in Milwaukee, the Green Bay Packers Hall of Fame, and lots others. So if you haven't explored those, please do. And I really do love to see the collaboration between our departments and innovative ideas to serve the public. The groundbreaking for the industrial speculative building in the Clement Business Park that was scheduled for tomorrow, that has been delayed due to the weather forecast. We will be having that on June 30th at 10 a.m. on site to celebrate the project and Wisconsin Development Partners investment in the city. So we're excited about that. Fort Atkinson Baseball Fest will start on Thursday and run through the weekend in Jones Park. Something for everybody at this event, which features baseball games, carnival rides, food, cornhole, and lots of music. And finally, we're excited to announce the first summer photo contest that the city is undertaking. It invites community members to celebrate the beauty, character, and community spirit of Fort Atkinson through the lens of photography. We're excited to be highlighting the places, people, and experiences that make Fort Atkinson special. Contest entries will be through August 10th, and winners will be announced on August 17th. So the winners will receive chamber gift cards. So if you are an amateur photographer or a professional, check out the city's website for additional information and how to enter. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to item 10, unfinished business. We have none tonight. Item 11, new business. 11A is review and possible action relating to outstanding Wisconsin Department of Transportation invoices. Director of Public Works, Nathan.
Good evening. The city has outstanding invoices with the Wisconsin Department of Transportation with the Robert Street Bridge project from 2022. At the time, staff had voiced concerns to the DOT regarding the origin of the invoices and the services received. This issue was not resolved prior to the departure of the previous Director of Public Works, which brings us here today. The city staff recently met with the DOT to review these outstanding charges and discrepancies, and DOT staff explained that the city is responsible for 25% of the funding for the Robert Street Bridge project. Due to the additional requests to meet the needs of the city in tight timelines, the DOT contracted out the design work for the project. 25% of those costs were invoiced to the city and are shown in the 2 invoices attached for $64,500 and $18,750 respectively. The third invoice for $52,170.31 was for the decorative lighting along the bridge. DOT stated that the decorative lighting was not covered under the grant funding and was not eligible for the 75-25 cost share. DOT staff have indicated that the new connecting highway projects will not move forward until these invoices are paid. The total cost of the 3 invoices equals $135,420.31. Staff proposes to use the city's contingency account to cover these costs. If payment of these invoices is approved with contingency funds, there will be $56,140.66 remaining in that account for the use in 2026. Staff does recommend the City Council authorize the payment of the 3 outstanding Wisconsin Department of Transportation invoices for a total cost of $135,420.31 using the city's 2026 contingency funds.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Just because I wasn't here and it was before your time as well. Was there some confusion about the lighting? Do you know when they were making that decision? Like
I,
standard lighting have been covered? This is just for future.
yeah. I don't know what was all discussed at that time
Mhm.
and what would have been not, considered covered in that 75-25 and what was not.
I think they would have replaced at the 75-25, they would have replaced the standard lighting, but there was a decision made to go with the decorative lighting.
Okay. Thank you.
This potentially what's holding this, or I assume this is what's holding up some of these other projects in the city that the DOT is responsible for.
Yeah, they've made it very clear at this point that they will not be moving forward with any design work on any connecting highway project until these are taken care of.
However, I will say that this is not the reason the 106 project was delayed. So they won't undertake any new design projects. 106 has been under design for a significant amount of time already. So this is for new projects, which we do have additional connecting highways. We do have additional projects that we would like to move forward on, and this would help in those
This will be the
endeavors.
first step.
You can never really accurately forecast what the needs of a contingency account may be. But what have in past years, is it an account that we tap into regularly, or do we wind up with some extra dollars left in that one at the end of the year?
Typically, there are extra dollars at the end of the year in the contingency account.
And so given that we're approaching halfway through the year, $56,000 remaining in that account.
It's not
Comfortable with
consuming.
that? Okay.
I move to authorize the payment of the 3 outstanding Wisconsin Department of Transportation invoices for a total cost of $135,420.31 using the city's 2026 contingency funds.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Moving on, review and possible action relating to a grant award received for lead service lateral replacement communications. Director Navanian.
Thank you. So as this body is aware, the city staff have been working diligently to identify all of our service laterals in the city so that we understand what each one of those laterals is, copper, lead, galvanized, you name it. Through that process, we have updated a few ordinances, which then allowed us to apply for the intent to apply for safe drinking water loan funds this June of 2026. And so at that point, staff reached out to RFP, which was approved through council for helping manage this program. And then that brought us to the this communication grant that we worked with Jefferson County and City Water to apply for. So recognizing the successful lead service line replacement requires robust public participation, city staff collaborated with the county to apply for this grant. The grant specifically designed to fund outreach efforts to inform residents about the project, improve water quality awareness, and decrease their health risks. So staff was pleased to announce that the DNR did award the city the full funding amount of $150,000 for this outreach initiative. These funds are available for eligible costs incurred between May 16th of 2026 and May 15th of 2028. And it will be used to support the success of our lead service lateral replacement program through the dedicated community engagement education. A big piece of why we went and joined up with Jefferson County Health and Human Services is there's a lot of value in having somebody with that background speak to you about these. Our city water staff can surely speak to this, but there's just a little bit different perception, right? When you've got the health department helping out and assisting with that. So we've been very grateful that they've joined in on this project. And since this was written, I am happy to announce that we are eligible for an extra $28,000 in funding. The DNR reached out and said, hey, we have these additional funds that were not utilized through the last funding cycle. So we're going to reach back out to all the applicants from this cycle and divvy it back out. So I'm waiting to hear finals on that, but that is an exciting additional opportunity for us through this program. So this grant will help cover the costs associated with the community outreach regarding lead service lateral replacements in the city of Fort Atkinson. City staff, consultants, and staff at the Jefferson County Health and Human Services Department are in the process of developing a communication plan to utilize the funds efficiently and effectively per the budget included in the grant award. So staff does recommend the council accept the lead service lateral replacement community outreach grant award in the amount of $150,000. and authorize the city manager to sign the acceptance letter.
So curiosity, and I don't expect you to have these right in front of you, but we did inventory of 4,709. Any idea approximately how many were lead based?
So I don't have the lead exact, but I have, so it's lead and galvanized required replacement, and that means galvanized pipe was at one time downstream of a lead pipe. Because galvanized is a more porous metal, it will collect the lead.
Okay.
That number between the public and the city side is around, I want to say right around, we get that number tuned in around 650, 700.
Okay. Not better than I was expecting.
Not bad.
Yeah,
Working with some of these consulting groups that are working in much older communities, I'm feeling pretty good about where we're at. I'll put it that way.
That's great.
So for the, where it says you can spend the money, on that 150, it says cost to design, print, or translate materials. There's no money, it's not eligible for the reimbursement from the 150. Would the 28,000 that you're getting help with translation? We have a lot of Spanish speakers. For
Sorry,
material.
I don't have that out in front of me, but yeah,
Okay.
that's work that will be done through the health department.
Okay,
It may not have been specifically outlined in there, but through their efforts, they will be doing that.
okay.
Translating that, sorry, yes, they will be working through all that to ensure that we have that available.
Okay, thank you.
I move to accept the lead service lateral replacement community outreach grant award in the amount of $150,000 and $28,000 extra. And authorize the city manager to sign the acceptance letter.
Second,
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
The award notice from the DNR says that the grant is subject to change. We're not anticipating that the change is going to go down.
Correct.
The change for us has been a good change in that there's more dollars available.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And as this project progresses, there's limited danger to the public because those pipes are already coated naturally with stuff that kind of protects it from the lead getting into the water system or people's homes.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? I'm not sure I
The-
understood.
The water that goes to people's home through lead pipes is a limited at the moment danger to the public because they're coated by the fact that the natural or hard water that we run through them is coated.
Yeah, I don't know the specific science behind that, but at the end of the day, all the testing that's been done, we do have faucet tests done in select homes throughout the city. There are no elevated levels that are of concern.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying none. Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
You.
My tongue is tied tonight, apparently. All right. 11C, review and possible action relating to an extraterritorial certified survey map for the property located N 3628 County Road K, CSM 2026-06, Director of Neighborhood and Building Services, Traeger.
Yes, thank you. So as we know by now, CSMs within 3 mile radius of the city have to be reviewed at a minimum by city staff, and if they're 1.5 miles or closer, they must be reviewed and approved by Plan Commission and City Council. This one falls within that 1.5 miles, requiring those approvals. It is a certified survey map to combine 2 existing parcels into a single lot. We do not have confirmation, or we do have a slight confirmation, but it's anticipated that it's for the construction of an additional accessory building. They did receive a conditional use permit from the county to erect that building. There is very little notes to go along with the certified survey map, except for that there is the lot does extend out into the public right of way. We have seen this in the past after speaking with the county on several occasions, and in this one as well. The county does not pursue having that roadway dedicated due to some state statutes that dedicate that or that makes that a public right of way due to length of time. So with that, there is no financial impact to the city. City staff and plan commission recommend the city council approve the extraterritorial certified survey map for the property located at N3628 County Road K by waiving and also waiving the dedication of that public right of way that is required underneath our land development division or ordinance. Thank you. Apparently I'm tongue tied tonight as well.
It's contagious.
Yes.
I move to approve the here we go, extraterritorial certified survey map for the property located at N3628 County Road K, subject to the condition outlined in the staff report.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Interesting seeing this one where it falls on the map. It's almost closer to the city limits of Jefferson, other than our airport
Yes. Yeah.
being so close there. So, does Jefferson have to review this one too? Or
I'm not sure about that. I did not inquire on that. I just know it falls within our zone, so we're reviewing it.
I know when you look at the like GSI maps, you know, how much areas are overlapping, even us to Whitewater, there's an overlapping portion.
For sure, yeah. Yeah, we fall into that every once in a while where we get an application coming in and they're like, we didn't even know we fell within Port Atkinson.
No other discussion. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 11D, review and possible action relating to an extraterritorial certified survey map for the property located at W5812 County Road M, CSM 2026-07. Director Drager.
All right, thank you. This one is another extraterritorial CSM that falls within the 1.5 miles. This one is a little bit closer and did have a little bit more discussion. This is an existing or contains an existing quarry on it owned by House Brothers and in part the neighbors, the Poyer homestead, through some long-term agreements in the past allowed House Brothers to excavate onto their property. And this is a CSM that is proposed to define those boundaries and get the quarry completely on one parcel owned by House Brothers. And then in turn, the Poyers will combine their existing land into another singular parcel. This was reviewed by the county. They had very few comments other than establishing where those access ingress and egress points are. There was some not public, but staff comments on the quarry itself, whether this would facilitate or allow the expansion of the quarry towards the city. After speaking with the property owners, with the county, and with the surveyors, there's no formal agreement that would prevent them from doing that. However, the boundary where it is being established would essentially prevent that from happening. It is going right along the boundary of the quarry that exists. With that, there is no financial analysis. There is no financial impact to the city. And Plan Commission met on June 9th and recommended the city council approve the extraterritorial CSM. There were some comments and corrections recommended in the Plan Commission report memo. And those are recommended to carry through with this one as well. So with that, staff and Plan Commission recommend the city council approve the extraterritorial certified survey map for the property located at W5812 County Road M with the corrections noted in the Plan Commission memo.
I move to approve the extraterritorial certified survey map for the property located at W5812 County Road M, subject to the conditions outlined in the staff report.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 11E, review and possible action relating to the replacement of a barn roof and siding at the Fort Atkinson Municipal Airport using CARES Act funds. Director Drager again.
Yes, thank you. I don't know if you're familiar with the Fort Atkinson Municipal Airport barn out there, but I don't think there's a lot of explanation needs to happen, especially for the roof itself. I did note something here in my staff memo myself that I said that there's 3-tab shingles on that roof, and then indeed they are not 3-tab shingles. They're older yet. They're T-lock shingles, which are a square shingle placed in a diamond fashion. So those have been there for quite some time, and with the existing or the original cedar shake roofing showing from underneath that as well. So some background there, the barn's been there for quite a while. It was used for storage in the past, no longer viable for storage in its current condition. Rain, weather, birds, and every other critter can get in and out of there. The replacement of the roof was included in the city's approved 2026 budget as part of the capital improvement projects. That is CARES Act funding. It shows up in the, I'm going to get this wrong, in the fund balance. But it is indeed CARES Act funding that would be used for that roof. The city did reach out to several contractors, did receive did receive 3 bids for the project. One from Smith Roofing for $56,300, one from Riedel and Sons for $38,456 and 30, and then one from Midwest Roofing and Construction for $23,660. We'll point out Smith Roofing did in their estimate recommend or estimate taking the shingles off and the cedar shakes and resheeting the roof, whereas Riedel and Sons and Midwest Roofing plan to put purlins on and doing over the existing roof. I will also note on top of that that is a typical installation for metal roofing over the top of an existing roof for metal panels. After receiving those proposals, city staff did reach out to Midwest Roofing and ask for clarification on their pricing and their warranties. And then with that, did also ask them to provide a additional bid for the siding and the fascia or the soffits on the barn as well. After receiving that bid, city staff does recommend replacing the roof and the siding. There are some economies of scale that go along with that. We anticipate there was a slight increase in the roof costs, but that was due to the length of time in between receiving the initial bid and then bringing it forward or asking for that siding bid. With that, the additional funds would still come out of the CARES Act funding. There is a $75,000 worth in there that were federal government granted the city of Fort Atkinson for the airport in 2022 and 2023. You would see a decrease in the airport fund with these funds leaving, but once again, those are paid for out of that CARES Act. And with that, staff recommends the city council accept a proposal from Midwest Roofing and Construction to replace the roof and siding on the Fort Atkinson Municipal Airport barn at a cost not to exceed $46,324 to be completed in 2026 using the CARES Act funds. I'd welcome any questions you may have.
So currently it can't be used for storage. Do we anticipate that it will be storage going forward, or are
Yes.
there plans for what we're going to be storing in there?
Yeah, no, not really plans anything specific. With the replacement of the roof and the siding, it would make it available for leasing it out for private storage or something like that. And that would be at a retail rate and not at the airport rate, since it is not used for planes.
Perfect.
And I did provide some pricing in there for that. Those are rough estimates. Those could fluctuate a little bit. It is a big area, so you may have difficulty in finding somebody specific that's willing to pay for every square foot. But however, it is a nice big space that would be weather tight.
And what's the color option you're going to do for the siding?
The plan of now would be to keep it as is, the rustic red, and keep with the darker gray roof on it.
Perfect.
Is there any timeframes, deadlines in which the CARES fund or CARES Act funds need to be used that we know of?
I don't believe so. There's just specifics on how you can use it.
Right.
And I assume, seeing that this bid was dated for back in March, it's verified it's still a good bid.
Yeah, so the March, and then I don't know if I did have the second one in there. They have the siding and the roofing, and that one did update the roofing price a few $100s. I did.
That still is dated for the March date.
Oh, they
so-
must not have updated. I did reach out to them and clarify that pricing is still good, and we have until the end of the month for that, I believe.
Okay.
I move to approve the proposal from Midwest Roofing and Construction to replace the Fort Atkinson Airport barn roof and siding at a cost not to exceed $46,324 to be completed in 2026 using CARES Act funds.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on, item 12, miscellaneous, we have none tonight. Item 13, public comment for matters not on the agenda. The city council will receive comments from city residents. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per individual. Anyone wishing to speak is required to sign up in advance or state the following items for the record when called upon: name, address, and subject matter, and contact information. No action will be taken on any public comments. Note for those on Zoom, if you wish to speak, please raise your virtual hand as the chat box is not monitored and those on the call must remain muted. We have one person signed up in person tonight, Chris Vagaski. Sorry, I messed up the name there.
Well, thanks for allowing me
Can
to
you
speak.
just state your name and address for the record right away, please?
Yes, it's Chris Vagaski, 1681 Isla Street. Again, I thank you for taking the time to listen. I'm coming in regards to Koshkonong Estates. We last met about 5 months ago, right before the big icy blast in January, to talk about plans for that neighborhood, which is experiencing excessive water issues, degradation of the roads. And I just wanted to make sure that it stayed at the forefront of council, because it is continuing to be, just a weight on the shoulders of everybody that lives there. I was walking my dog yesterday and somebody said, "Hey, have you heard anything from the city?" Which we haven't. We've experienced very wet spring, 8 inches of rain at my house in April. And for that kind of rainfall, that's something that we can expect to see kind of every 2 years. And we were seeing a lot of flooding in and around the neighborhood. So again, the sooner that we can figure out what's going to happen with that neighborhood, the easier it is for all of us, the 7 neighbors there, to make plans on what we are going to do.
Thank you. All right. We have nobody else signed up in person tonight, so this will be a first call for those of you on Zoom. Second call for anyone on Zoom wishing to provide public comment. Close out public comment. Item 14, claims, appropriations, and contract payments. 14A is review and possible action relating to the verified claims presented by the Director of Finance and authorized payment.
I move to approve the verified claims as presented and authorize payment.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. This is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Huckabee.
Aye.
Councilmember Johnson.
Aye.
Councilmember Lesko Hair.
Aye.
Councilmember Price.
Aye.
President Jacob.
Aye. Motion carries. Item 15, adjournment.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
The motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.